You know what's crazy? Right now, you're probably putting money into a retirement account that you think is going to take care of you when you're 65. You're doing everything the experts tell you to do. You're contributing to your 401k, maybe even getting that employer match. You feel pretty good about it. But here's what nobody's telling you. There's a really statistically significant chance that when you actually get to retirement, you're going to open that account and realize you don't have nearly enough. And the worst part, it's not because you didn't save, it's because the entire system is built on assumptions that are probably wrong. That's literally what happened to my neighbor Richard. He worked for 35 years, maxed out his 401k contributions, he did everything right, and at 67, he's back working part-time at Home Depot because his retirement savings ran out faster than he expected. And before you think, well, that won't happen to me, statistically, it probably will. Let me show you why. Hi, I'm Sam. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 3 massive blind spots in most people's retirement plans that almost guarantee failure. And more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix them before it's too late. So if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because this might be the most important financial video you watch this year. Okay, so let's start with the uncomfortable truth that most financial advisors don't really emphasize enough. You know that classic advice, save 10-15% of your income for retirement and you'll be fine. Yeah, that's probably not going to work for most people. And here's why. Let's do the actual math. Let's say you're 30 years old, you make $60,000 a year, and you start saving 10% of your income. That's $6,000 a year into your 401k. You do this religiously for 35 years until you're 65. Now, assuming a 7% average annual return, which is pretty standard when you account for inflation, you'd end up with roughly $830,000 at retirement. That sounds like a lot, right? Here's the problem. That $830,000 needs to last you potentially 30 years. Using the 4% withdrawal rule, which is what most financial planners recommend, you'd be pulling out about $33,000 a year. But wait, you were making $60,000 a year before retirement. So now you're trying to live on almost half your previous income? And we haven't even talked about healthcare costs yet. According to Fidelity's 2024 estimates, average about $315,000 per couple during retirement. See what I mean? The math just doesn't work. And that's assuming everything goes perfectly. That's assuming you never have an emergency that forces you to dip into your retirement savings. That's assuming the market cooperates for those entire 35 years. That's assuming you never lose your job or have to take a pay cut. And here's what really gets me. Most people don't even save 10%. According to Vanguard's 2023 retirement report, the median 401k contribution rate is around 7%. 7%. That same person would retire with about $580,000. Now they're living on $23,000 a year. This is why Richard is working at Home Depot. But it gets worse, and this is where most retirement calculators completely fail you. Let's talk about inflation for a second. I know, it's not the sexiest topic, but stick with me because this is where people get absolutely destroyed. Most retirement calculators will ask you something like, how much do you think you'll need per year in retirement? And you might say, well, I'm living on $60,000 now, so maybe $50,000 in retirement since I won't have work expenses. But here's what those calculators often don't emphasize clearly enough. That $50,000 you need today is not the same as $50,000 in 35 years. With just 3% annual inflation, which is actually below the long-term average, that $50,000 becomes about $140,000 in 35 years. Let that sink in. You need $140,000 per year to have the same purchasing power as $50,000 today. This is the inflation trap. Your savings are growing, sure, but the cost of everything you need to buy is growing too, and often faster than you think. Here's a really eye-opening stat. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, healthcare costs have been rising at about 5 to 6% annually over the past 2 decades. That's double the general inflation rate. So if you're planning to retire at 65, exactly when your healthcare costs are about to skyrocket, you're getting hit with a double whammy. This is the part that makes me genuinely frustrated with conventional financial advice, because nobody talks about this clearly enough. They show you these nice smooth growth curves on your 401k statement and you feel good, but they're not showing you the curve of how much everything is going to cost. Now, here's the third thing that people consistently underestimate. You're probably going to live longer than you think. And I know that sounds like good news, but financially, it's actually your biggest risk. Think about it like this. If you retire at 65 and live to 80, your retirement savings need to last 15 years. Challenging, but doable with proper planning. But if you live to 95, now you need 30 years of savings. That's double. Your money has to last twice as long. And here's the thing. People are living longer. According to the Social Security Administration, a 65-year-old man today has about a 30% chance of living to 90. For women, it's over 40%. And if you're in a married couple, there's nearly a 50% chance at least one of you will live into your 90s. But when most people plan for retirement, they're planning for what? Maybe 20 years? They're not planning for 30 or 35 years. This is what I call the longevity gap, and it's massive. Let me give you a concrete example. Let's go back to that person with $830,000 saved up. Using the 4% rule, they're withdrawing $33,000 a year. If they live for 25 years, they'll be okay. They'll have some money left over. But if they live for 35 years, they run out of money at age 90. And then what? This is exactly what happened to Richard. He planned for a 20-year retirement. He's now in year 22. The math stopped working. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just a math problem. It's a psychology problem. See, there's this concept in behavioral economics called hyperbolic discounting. Basically, it means we value immediate rewards way more than future rewards, like disproportionately more. If I offered you $100 today or $110 next week, you'd probably take the $110, right? That's a 10% return in 1 week. That's incredible. But if I offered you $100 in a year or $110 in a year and 1 week, suddenly most people choose the $100, even though it's the exact same choice, same $10 difference, same 1 week wait. This is why retirement planning is so hard psychologically. Retirement feels abstract, it feels far away, but that new car or that vacation or even just going out to dinner, that stuff feels real. That stuff feels immediate. So what happens? People consistently undersave, not because they don't understand math, but because their brains are literally wired to value the present over the future. And here's another psychological trap, the set it and forget it mentality. You set up your 401k contribution when you get hired, let's say 6%, and then you just never touch it again. You get raises, you get promotions, your income goes up, but that contribution rate stays at 6%. You're leaving massive amounts of money on the table. According to research from the Employee Benefit Research Institute, people who actively increase their contribution rate just 1% per year end up with about 30 to 40% more in retirement savings over a 30-year career. That's huge, but most people never do it because they set it once and forget about it. All right, so we've covered all the ways your retirement plan is probably broken. Now let's talk about actually fixing it, because I'm not just here to scare you, I want you to actually solve this problem. Step 1, recalculate with realistic numbers. First, you need to go back and redo your retirement calculations with realistic assumptions. And I mean really realistic. Don't use those optimistic 10% return numbers. Use 7% to account for inflation. Don't plan for just 20 years of retirement. Plan for 35 years. And don't forget to factor in inflation for your actual spending needs. There are better retirement calculators out there that do this. Look for ones that specifically account for inflation-adjusted spending. Or better yet, work with a fee-only financial planner who can run these numbers properly. Step 2, increase your savings rate aggressively. Here's the hard truth. You probably need to be saving more, not 10%, more like 15 to 20% if you want a comfortable retirement. I know that sounds impossible. Sam, I can barely afford 10%. But here's what I want you to do. Every time you get a raise, immediately increase your 401k contribution by half of that raise. Got a 4% raise? Increase your contribution by 2%. You still get to enjoy a 2% lifestyle increase, but you're also dramatically improving your retirement outlook. Over time, this adds up to a massive difference. Step 3. Diversify beyond just your 401k. Your 401k is great, especially if you're getting an employer match, but it shouldn't be your only retirement savings vehicle. Consider opening a Roth IRA, especially if you're younger. The money grows tax-free, and you can withdraw contributions without penalty if you absolutely need to. That gives you way more flexibility. Also, consider investing in a regular taxable brokerage account. I know, the tax benefits aren't as good, but you have complete control and flexibility. You can access this money anytime without penalties, which gives you options if you need them before 59.5. Step 4. Plan for healthcare separately. Healthcare is going to be one of your biggest retirement expenses, so plan for it separately. If you retire before 65, you need a plan for health insurance until Medicare kicks in. That could be $15,000 to $20,000 per year for a couple. Consider opening an HSA if you have a high deductible health plan. This is actually one of the best retirement vehicles available. Contributions are tax deductible, it grows tax-free, and if you use it for healthcare expenses, withdrawals are tax-free too. It's triple tax advantaged. After 65, you can even use it for non-healthcare expenses. It just gets taxed like a traditional IRA. Step 5. Create multiple income streams. Here's something really important. Don't rely just on your savings. Think about how you can create income in retirement. Maybe that's rental income from real estate. Maybe it's dividend-paying stocks. Maybe it's a small side business or consulting work. The point is, if you can generate even $10,000 to $20,000 a year from sources other than your retirement accounts, you dramatically reduce the risk of running out of money. And honestly, this is becoming more necessary. The days of retiring at 65 and never working again are kind of fading. But that doesn't mean you're stuck in a miserable job. It means you're finding something flexible that generates income on your terms. Step 6. Stress test your plan. Finally, you need to stress test your retirement plan. What happens if the market crashes right when you retire? What happens if you have a major health issue? What if you live to 100? Run these scenarios. See where your plan breaks down. Then adjust accordingly. Maybe that means keeping a larger emergency fund. Maybe it means delaying retirement by a couple years. Maybe it means reducing your expected lifestyle. The point is, don't just assume everything will go perfectly. Plan for problems. Look, here's the bottom line. The traditional retirement advice, save 10%, retire at 65, live on 80% of your income, that worked for previous generations, but with longer lifespans, higher healthcare costs, and more economic volatility, the old rules just don't cut it anymore. But here's the good news. If you actually understand these problems and you take action now, you can fix this. You can build a retirement plan that actually works. It just requires being more realistic, more aggressive with your savings, and more strategic with your planning. Because you don't want to be Richard. You don't want to be 67 years old and back to work because you ran out of money. You want to actually enjoy retirement on your terms without financial stress. So take what we talked about today and actually do something with it. Recalculate your numbers, increase your savings rate, diversify your investments, plan for the long term. If you found this helpful, go ahead and like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And if you want more content like this, real talk about money without the BS, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell.